Have you ever wondered why people speak different languages? It's a curious thing. All humans are alike in many ways. We share the same basic needs and emotions. Yet, we communicate in thousands of different languages. Why is that? Let's explore the fascinating reasons behind the diversity of languages. There are many theories about how languages came to be. One thing is clear. Language is essential for human connection. It allows us to share ideas, tell stories, and build relationships. Without language, our world would be a very different place. From the ancient tongues of isolated tribes to the global languages of today, each language holds a unique history. These languages reflect the cultures, environments, and experiences of the people who speak them. One famous story about the origin of languages comes from the Bible. It's the story of the Tower of Babel. According to this story, people once spoke a single language and decided to build a tower that would reach the heavens. God saw this as a sign of human arrogance and decided to scatter the people by confusing their languages. Unable to understand each other, they could no longer finish the tower. The story of Babel offers a symbolic explanation for why we have so many languages. While the Tower of Babel is a myth, it highlights an important truth. Language differences can indeed create barriers between people. Throughout history, different languages have often led to misunderstandings and conflicts. Imagine a time long ago when humans lived in small, isolated groups. These groups were often separated by vast distances, mountains, oceans, or deserts. Over time, each group developed its own unique way of speaking. Think about it like this. If you and a friend never talked to each other, you might start using different words for the same things. Maybe you'd invent new words altogether. This is similar to how languages evolved in isolation. As generations passed, these differences in speech grew larger. Eventually, the groups were no longer able to understand each other. This process, happening over thousands of years, led to the formation of distinct languages. Section 4. Migration, Trade, and Conquest, Shaping Languages. As humans began to explore and migrate, they came into contact with other groups. This contact brought about language changes. Sometimes languages borrowed words from each other. For example, the English word sugar comes from the Arabic word sukar. Trade played a significant role in spreading languages. Merchants who traveled to distant lands needed ways to communicate with people from different cultures. This often led to the adoption of common words and phrases. Conquest also influenced language. When one group conquered another, they often imposed their language on the conquered people. This is why, for instance, Spanish is spoken in many parts of South America. Section 5. A universal language dream or reality. Wouldn't it be easier if everyone spoke the same language? Some people believe that a universal language would solve many problems. It could promote global understanding and cooperation. However, a universal language also presents challenges. Which language would we choose? Would people be willing to give up their native tongues? Language is deeply tied to culture and identity. Losing one's language can feel like losing a part of oneself. Despite the challenges, the idea of a universal language continues to fascinate people. Who knows what the future holds? Maybe one day we will have a language that unites all of humanity. Section 6. Languages, always changing. Just like living things, languages are constantly evolving. New words are born, old words change their meanings, and grammar rules adapt. Think about the way we use technology. We text, email, and chat online, creating new forms of language and slang. The ever-changing nature of language makes it a fascinating subject to study. It reflects not only how we communicate, but also how we think, live, and interact with the world around us. So, why don't we all speak the same language?